Hey y'all. No video on this one either. Um, we are gonna look at these slides, and these slides have a lot going on, and so I thought it would be enough just to see them on screen. So we're talking about wetlands, of course. Sometimes you'll hear me say wetlands, sometimes wetlands. It's really six of one, half dozen the other. This really does not make a big difference. So here we go. If I can get there we go. So, what's a wetland? Land area that's covered by a shallow layer of water. So, this is matching up with your note sheet, and you need to be watching out and filling in. Okay? And so, a wetland transitions us between dry land and a big body of water. So, you don't usually, now, sometimes, like on a beach, you have kind of like just the sand and the ocean, and it can get pretty deep pretty fast. But in a lot of other places where there's a big body of water, you're going to have transition between the two where it's a really wet land, but it is not just dry land to straight up deep water. Okay. These are the most rich with life of anything. You might think rainforest is, but it's not. Wetlands actually have rainforest beat, which is fascinating. Okay. So they're just a great place to find food, a great place to find shelter, a great place to have your babies and keep your babies safe. Okay. Nesting and resting. We can remember it because it rhymes. I can build my nest here, put the eggs in it, hatch them, keep the baby safe, and it's a good place for me to rest. Okay, recuperate after I hunt for food for the babies all day. Okay, as I said in another video, a wetland is a filter. Okay. First of all, because it holds so much water, it's going to keep flooding from getting too bad. The less healthy a wetland gets, the more flooding you'll have in that area because the wetland is protecting everybody else from that water by kind of holding it in and absorbing it. Okay. Because there's so much life in the wetland, like when we talked about a riparian buffer on the edge of a river in watersheds, how it slows down erosion because of all those plant roots, right? This is reducing erosion because there's so much life there to slow down the runoff. And while going through that process, this water's getting filtered. So sediment, nutrients, pollutants, groundwater. And the more you slow down a pollutant is just something bad that's gotten into the water, usually from human activity. It has time to get broken down into something less dangerous. And when it says recharge groundwater, it means in the groundwater source that we have for them to refill. Okay. So we're going to talk about three big types of wetlands: swamps, marshes, and bogs. Okay. So a bog is cool and it's poorly drained, meaning it's holding a lot of water and there's a lot of moss. Okay. And again, so certain types of plants are going to be here, like that sphagnum moss, pitcher plants, Venus flytraps. I always say this, it's one of my favorite facts about wetlands. Why is there a Venus flytrap and a pitcher plant in this environment? Because there is not much nitrogen in the soil. So I have to get my nitrogen somewhere else. The foods that are the most rich in nitrogen is protein foods, like bugs. So plants decide to catch bugs in order to get their nitrogen that they need in these areas. Okay. And these are in cool, more northern places. Okay. A swamp is a flooded forest. We have the dismal swamp here. You're going to see these trees in the water. Okay. Cypress trees, willows, oaks, and vines on them. This is in warm, humid places like Virginia. Okay. We have that warm, humid summer. A marsh is a grassland that became flooded. So you see a lot of grasses there because it's a flooded grassland, okay, with cattails and reeds. Usually this is also warm and humid. We can find marshes in places with our climate, okay? So what's this one? Give it a second. Think about it. This is a marsh. I see a bunch of grass up there behind that bird. What about this one? Venus flytrap. Where was that going to be found? A bog. What about this? This cattail, which is related to grasses. It's a marsh again. Okay, what about this? All these trees coming up from the water. Swamp. Okay, that's our last slide. I do want to point out we may not directly refer around here to a bog, but in the Carolinas and Virginia, you can still sometimes find a Venus flytrap because of that poor nitrogen soil. I always think that's so cool. Okay, so hopefully you got a feel for which is which. Okay, especially we are very familiar with swamps if we take spend any time in the wilderness here, and marshes and bogs. Just learning that difference. Make sure that you fill out your notes. Go back if you need to go back. Repeat if you need to repeat. All that good stuff. As always, hope you have a great day.